Welcome everybody to the Trisbrina Show. Today we are discovering your true self. We're going to embrace authenticity in a world of crazy expectations.
I mean, have you ever felt like you're living this life that's been scripted by others and that it's time to break free of the mold and really tap into your authentic self? Well, that's what we're going to talk about on tonight's Trisbrina Show. We're going to explore what does authenticity really mean, and we're going to share practical steps that are going to help you become more genuine. And then we're going to talk about how does being authentic differ from living from the past programs that have shaped our lives. So that's what we've got in store for you tonight.
And welcome everybody. We see you all piping in over here to the side. So hello. We see you, Debbie and Barbara.
Jennifer,
Angel, hi
hello.
Lee, hello everyone. Well, we are back from an incredible experience. We just drove out to Houston, Texas, and we saw, you're very tall today, we saw a beautiful demonstration of what we would call authenticity. We went to a very Pink concert.
Pink.
With the wonderful Pink. She's an incredible artist, gifted, talented singer, beautiful mother. What I saw was an incredibly authentic human being. We're going to talk a little bit about her tonight, as well as this whole concept of what it means to be authentic. As Sabrina said in the open, I think we need to start there with the word authenticity, right? Being authentic. And I think there's a few different camps on this, right?
Oh, yes.
You want to kick it off?
Well, some people are like, I'm being authentic. I'm being the way I've always been. This is just me. This is just the way I am. I'm very reactive. It's just the way I am. Is it? And that's really what's interesting is when we want to be our authentic selves, which we'll talk later about, that blended candy cane consciousness version that we like to talk about, the way that the white and red is swirled together in a candy cane. That white and red is like just the godness of you and the humanness of you swirled together and blended together into this deliciousness of life, and to be authentically that blended version.
Right.
But oftentimes there's things that happened in our past real often, like really often. So oftentimes many things happened in our past that shaped our programs, shaped our limiting beliefs, shaped how we deal with things that were traumatic, that made us take on behaviors that became triggers for us, that made us overly reactive or overly compensating, and we think, well, that's just who I am. But if we go back to that authentic version before that thing happened that triggered, are we reacting to a past program when we think we're being authentic, and how can you tell the difference?
So the Buddhists and the Buddha called it your authentic self in a different way. They would say your Buddhahood, that noble self. And they're talking about the original self, that before programming. So I think what we've got, the two camps here, we've got, I'm this programmed version of me and I'm authentically programmed. I like who I am, or I'm just the way that I am, as you said. Dude, I'm being raw and real and authentic and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I'm like, I unsubscribe from your authenticity because it doesn't resonate with me. But if that's what you feel really called to be, awesome. You do you, boo, right? Like, you be authentically you. But we're talking about not only that camp, we're talking about that Buddhahood. We're talking about that original nature. But it's more than that, isn't it? Because you have all the colors of you blended, as you said, blended, that candy cane, with that divinity you. So there's the human self and then there's the divine self. And the marriage of those two can create an incredible authenticity. People say to you and I quite a bit, you guys are so authentic.
It's everywhere we go.
All over the place. In fact,
There's people standing at the door right now saying
what's the guy's name that they said I looked like last night?
Oh, he played Ken in the movie. What was the actor that played Ken in the movie?
So I apologize to the actor that I didn't know his name. I know he's an amazing actor and he was in a lot of great movies. He was in La La Land, is that what it's called? Yeah, I know he was recently in Barbie, Ken and
Josh?
Barbie. Now they're going to know. Anyway, I don't know why this lady we were walking, probably because I was with a real, Ryan Gosling.
Ryan
Thank
Gosling.
you. And I'm like, is he a singer? They're like, no, he's Ken. I'm like, oh, duh. We're the original Ken and Barbie. But anyway, when I'm talking about that blended, when we were at the Pink concert, we saw Pink being authentically true to who she is. Mm-hmm. She wasn't trying to be like anything other than who she is. I bet the way she was on stage is the way she is backstage. And that's what feels authentic.
The way she interacted with her cast and crew.
And I think when people say to us, you guys are authentic, it's because we practice being ourselves with you. We're not different when the camera stops, mm-hmm. right? So to me, that's a very important part of being authentic, and it's doing our very best to remember that original nature, that true nature. We call it your true identity.
Mm-hmm. Also, we have had a love for and a hunger for finding that authentic voice for many decades. And so there's been a lot of work kind of digging deep, intentionally thinking back, rewriting the story, practicing what you guys learn who have been through our Life Force Ninja program, using the mental processes, using the physical modalities, some hypnotherapy to go back into where did that program get started? When did I start saying, oh, I don't know, I don't want to go first, I'm shy? Well, I can trace it back. It's when I got told, don't be a show-off. So the whole thing was really don't be a show-off. Oh, I don't want to be a show-off. That's the most horrible thing. So if you can trace it back, you can see that thing that maybe felt really authentic was actually a reaction from trauma or a past program. But here's what's super cool is as we are this blended consciousness of this God consciousness and this human consciousness, I think as years go by and decades go by, don't you think the authenticity grows, changes, matures, and expands? The answer is yes. Yes, it does. As I have evolved more, understood more, my ability to be a different flavor of authentic shows up. Because my authentic is not your authentic, is not Tristan's authentic. We are this unique nectar of godliness blended with this unique lifetime as a human and what we brought into that. So my blended candy cane authentic consciousness not only is completely unique to me and all of the universe, but the expansion of that authenticity as a completely live energy is also constantly changing. I am not today, when I am the most authentic I can be, the same as I was the most authentic I could be 10 years ago, because evolution has happened to the entirety of the candy cane consciousness.
This gets juicy. And there's more.
Speaking of juicy.
Juicy. So here's another way of looking at this that might be helpful to all of us. So at one point in my journey, I thought I wanted to be filter free. To be authentic is no filters and just being my real self.
Yeah, maybe use some profanity, that's all.
Yeah, if I use profanity, that means you're being real. I have used profanity and been my authentic self. I'm not saying you can't do both. But where I'm going with this is the filters. I think we all are going to have filters to some degree. We have a persona. We're going to look through our own lens. But sometimes, and think of the filter like a beautiful stained glass window, when the light shines through that glass and it comes through with the colors of the divine through you, and it's beautiful, that's your blended stained glass you with that light of the divine.
Ah, beautiful.
However, you can have a lot of dirt on your window, and that dirt is sometimes known as the veil. Ignorance, the veil of ignorance. So you might be a really beautiful stained glass, but you have a lot of dirt, which is the programming and judgments and whatever stuff that's not as clean and clear as it could be for that divine light to pour through. When we're around people who have a nice clean window, which is what I saw with Pink, her window was clean.
And that's like emotionally, she was clean,
Emotional
and she
mastery.
had the light.
And she had the light coming through her. I could tear up with the way she was with her piano player. She said she honored him. They've been together
years.
22 or 3 years. Everybody in the tribe that was dancing, you could tell, you watch some artists and you know the dancers are there because they're getting paid for the gig. And they're dancing and they're doing a gig job. These people were part of like a family.
Yeah.
And they were celebrating joy and the authentic voice of their friend that was coming through. And that's what made it so elevating and why I'm emotionally moved. I love when the stained glass window is clean like that. And I can enjoy the divine in all of its expressions.
Yeah.
And her expression was beautiful.
The stained glass window analogy is such a beautiful example of authentic because it includes both layers of the candy cane consciousness. You want to clean the outside of the window. For me, that's looking at trauma, looking at what's happened in the past, looking at my reactions that are causing me to have habits of acting a certain way that I might not want to act. Yes, so you can clean all that up, but that's not enough for that stained glass to be beautiful. In order to see the beauty of it, it has to be hit by light.
Yes.
It has to voluntarily almost be in the light.
That's it.
Right?
Has
Voluntary, just
facing
saying
the light.
yes. So then you have the candy cane consciousness, you have the light, you have that beauty of the light coming through with that clean window.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Miss Bonnie said that Ryan is almost as buff as me. I saw the we have comments off to the side. We're with you guys, like enjoying it. They're loving your dress, by the way.
Oh,
tonight.
we should show it.
Yeah, you do. You need to model the dress. So, those of you joining us live, thank you for being here. How are you resonating with this conversation around authenticity?
How do you authentically feel?
How do you feel? Do you feel that you can continue to clean the window and continue to allow more of your authentic self? I shared this the other day. I believe I shared on the Trisbrina Show. Might have been in class. We went to a private dinner with some friends. They put it together and they had it catered. And this lovely couple is about to have another baby. And her name is Rachel. And she said, when we all came together, let's go around the table and say something we're celebrating in our life. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Usually people say something I'm grateful for. She said, something we're celebrating. And everybody had a beautiful share, incredible share. And my share was simply, and I may have used the word authentic, I feel so relaxed being myself here with all of you. And it wasn't just because they were all awesome humans, but I'm practicing my own awesomeness, which is I don't have to perform. I don't have to act any certain way. I just get to be myself, which feels very authentic. And I actually like myself. And I said to one of my students the other day, I am my own best friend. I mean, Sabrina's my best friend too. I am my own best friend. And I love the way that feels. I feel so relaxed now being who I am. And I believe it's a degree of shedding the false self and allowing the divine and the Tristan, the best of Tristan, to blend and come through. And I just feel like isn't that what all of us want? Is just to feel so relaxed, just being ourselves and responding to the moment. Oh, let's talk about responding and reacting.
Yes,
Okay.
let's do.
Okay.
It took a minute. Tick, tick, tick.
The authentic self seems to be slower in its response time. Not that it's not quick. Take it.
Yes, so if somebody says, I reacted to what you said, that usually happens before you have time to process, right? It's like you have an open wound and somebody touches it before you even think that hurt. You're like, right? Because you are reacting. Like, don't be so reactive. Whereas responding has a little bit of breathing room around it. Responding, how did you respond to that? You can feel that a response takes time and it might just be 1 second, but there is a cushion to choose what you say, to choose how you act, to make a decision to be the version of you that you want to be that higher version. So responding to a situation is going to be more in alignment when you're sitting in your authentic self, because there's nothing to prove and there's nothing to fight for, right? So when we're reactive, we're either, we're defending something from the past, we're reacting, we're angry, we're hurt. If I find myself reacting to anything that happens, I guarantee if I stop and think, have I ever felt like this before? It's going to be a yes, right? And that's why it's reactive, where responding, the situation, you can see it as a new situation from the new me that I am in this moment.
Yeah, there's a level of witnessing. As you say, notice what you're noticing. Mm-hmm. There's a calmness in being your authentic self. There's room to breathe. Non-reactive. You might respond quickly, but you're not in the reactive ding, right? That triggering mind. Mm-hmm. The authentic self, because it's blended with the divine self, doesn't have that same mechanism involved. That egoic principle, which is beautiful, ego is sense of self, and we need that, and it protects us. I'm not talking about trying to mute that. Trusting the self is important, but to be able to have a healthy self, which is a beautiful stained glass, with the light pouring through it, that clarity that comes through that allows you to see more. And when you can see more, the self is smooth, and there's the cushion, the breath, the noticing, the witness consciousness, and it feels very elevated. True self, authentic self, feels very elevated, but not above others.
Right.
You're not looking down on, you're just elevated, and the light's pouring through, and you're just, oh.
And it's the best version of you. It has nothing to do with comparing.
Right.
I think the thing that separates us the most from being our authentic self is judging that we're not being authentic. That's the number one thing that separates me from being my authentic self. Being your authentic self gives complete breathing room and compassion, that when something comes towards you and maybe it was a trigger and you go, rah, rah, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, that is absolutely not how I want to respond. And then you present that truth. Your authentic self embraces all of that. It is not perfection. It is not always saying the right thing and always being A++. It's not that at all. It embraces the love of the consciousness of light with this ever-evolving human version of ourself and ever-evolving Christ consciousness at the same time. It's always expanding and growing, right? Because so they're both expanding and growing.
Yes.
Allows for all the feelings
Evolution.
And all the reactions and all the responses, with the wisdom to sit in the seat of when it sees itself not being authentic and maybe acting out of a habit or a trauma. It says, you know what, it's totally fine, and I love you, Sabrina. You are beautiful, and I give you permission to have those reactions, and I give you permission to feel shy, and I also give you permission to let it go and move into what might feel like a more authentic version of you, with an ever-expanding Christ consciousness and an ever-expanding human condition.
So good. The evolution of the divine through us is continuing to expand and ripple. Two things that came through that I'm really enjoying what I'm feeling with this conversation. The first is that you said it's okay to have a little dirt on the window, and we're cleaning that up. And the way that you know that there's a little dirt on the window is how you feel. And it's okay to have a judgment or to feel, grief or hurt or something, right? Like, oh, you're not going to always be 100% of the time connected to pure light.
It'd be boring.
It's always on. Light is always there. Sun is always shining. but we have work to do. We have the contrast to help us get there. And so I love that we can first identify when I'm not fully in it right now by how I feel, and to learn to listen, because the body is the home of that instinct and that intuition. Intuition lives within the whole body. As you clean up the body, like Qigong, for example, anybody? Such a good idea, moving the body, right? Breath work, meditation work, so that the receptacle, the instrument, is able to notice, hey, there's some dirt on the window. Then it's okay to have dirt and not beat yourself up. On the personal and spiritual development journey, there can be a lot of, that's the whip, beating ourselves up, and we don't need to do that because you're on the journey. You still can be authentic going through your stuff. You're still a stained glass, and the light is still pouring, and you're aware of it. Here's the key: ownership. I know that this is my stuff. I'm going through this right now. It's here for me. It's my teacher. It's okay, like you said, to be going through this. I love you, little Sabrina. And then to do the work.
Yeah.
And sometimes I call them karma clouds, and this is another piece to this. Let's say that there's clouds above, and it's, look up, cloudy, gray skies. Might be some rain, lightning, even thunder. But it's in the morning. Well, above those clouds is the sun, is the divine, and it's always shining. It's always game on. Now, as you move along your emotional spectrum, what happens the way we draw this, we have a presentation about this, the clouds start to disperse. They're less gray, they're more cloudy, and they actually look kind of pretty. And you can see more light coming through. That's cleaning up the window. And the further you move, then there's sparseness, and then there's light beaming through. And what happens is you see the emotions move from despair and grief and anger and disappointment into more hopefulness, into optimism. And then now there's no clouds, there's just pure light coming in. The stained glass of you is pure and it's open. Mm-hmm. Now, anywhere along that journey, when you're in some emotional discord, you can punch through the clouds like an airplane. You ever been on an airplane? It was raining on the tarmac. It pops through and you're back in, up above, and you're like, wow, it's sunny up here. That's what meditation, Qigong, internal connection is for. You can still be authentically you and remember the light and can go, okay, I'm in the authenticity, and I'm going to come back down and I'm going to continue moving.
Respond, yeah. Well, I was going to say, regarding the analogy of the stained glass window as the authenticity and it being twofold, the outside can be dirty and smudged, and then the light pouring through. So what would the two things that would need to happen in order to move from feeling disconnected, phony, people pleaser, reactive, what would need to happen? Well, a little Windex, right? A little Windex on the window to wash it, and then moving into the place that is aligned with the light. So you guys that are watching the show, you have the Windex. All of the energy teachings that you know, that we do, you have that Windex. You know how to clean the window. It's no big deal. You have your breath work. You have all the Qigong. What about the light? Well, sometimes that's some of the mental processes. I've got to get out of this thing that I'm thinking and get back to clarity. Mm-hmm. And the two of them work in a blended reality, right? Qigong is not exercise. It is.
Can be.
Right, it is, but it's so much more than that, right? Because it includes space for the light, right? So it's cleaning the window, getting rid of the smudges, and at the same time bringing the focus of the light, bringing the intention of love. And you need both of those, right? It's like it's the body and the mind coming together to activate that authenticity of the stained glass window.
So good. I have one other little nugget about the clouds. We're waiting for some rain around here right now. We take it gladly, and I'm going to be happy when the clouds are here and it pours, because it's going to help things to grow. And so there are times that we're going through some emotions and we've been taught, I think, in our culture that emotions are bad and that we should try to be glad, never sad.
Put on a happy face.
Put on a happy face. But I had some emotions recently, and I ended up reframing. Wow, okay, this is my teacher. This is rain. Some might say manure, catalyst for the grass to grow. But I leaned into it, and I was grateful for the inner teacher of emotions. You sometimes hear people say it's your guidance system. I call it the inner teacher. Wow, and thank you for the rain. Thank you for this opportunity for contrast to make it possible for me to grow. Because without it, I could plateau. I could get stale. And I want to keep growing. So I'm okay with that. And I can still be very authentic in my pain. I can be very real, and I can respond even though I'm going through some emotion. How about going through it consciously? You know, you hear of conscious uncoupling, where two people are normally in a fight and they consciously uncouple. Isn't that beautiful? You could consciously uncouple from emotions that are holding you back, but you could be grateful.
Yeah, you can't hate an emotion away, right? If you're feeling something like, oh, I can't stand that I feel like this. Oh, well, you're gonna feel like that some more. You can only let it go. In that analogy that I used, Radhika, for me, the Windex are is like a modality, right? The Windex is the liquid with the special sauce that when you rub it on the window, it cleans it. So I hear. Well, the energy arts, like the modality of breath work, the modality of Qigong, that's like the stuff that you put on there that changes the energetic frequency. And that's what clears it off, right? So if you have some muck on something, you run water on it, it usually thins it out so that you can wash it away. And that's what the energy arts are like. It's like this thick, maybe blocked energy. You put that fluid movements and breath work and intention to clear it, and it comes off easy.
Fun conversation. So I just want to say thank you to Pink for giving us the topic for tonight by just being so beautiful. You were so authentically real and very inspiring. And one other thing, Sabrina hooked us up and got us VIP gold tickets, so we got to be really up front and close. And she was up on stage. I mean, she flies around the audience. I don't know how much you guys know about what this woman can do.
If you go to the concert, do not leave early.
No.
Because at the end, it's just phenomenal.
Phenomenal. She's on tour, so she might be coming to where you live. Go if you can get a ticket. It's a stadium where we went. I mean, we're talking, I don't even know how many thousands of people, but a lot. And I was up front, like in front of the stage, and I was like, let me just see what this feels like. She was there for her. And I was looking, and I was like, whoa. This is a big, we like the term container, because it's a container, it's a space for people to come together as a big tribe and elevate. And people were singing, and like you can go to some concerts where people are not, like they were hugging and they were collaborating with love, and it was this big container, and she was just like a sensei.
Yeah. And I was thinking about we help a lot of teachers and coaches find like their special uniqueness that they share with the world, and there's little processes that you do it. And I thought about Pink with so she does trapeze work.
Yeah.
She flies through the air. I don't even know what you would call it. Jumping off of things, running down stairs, like
it's crazy what she can do.
Scooters that look like flamencos. I can just imagine her telling a business coach, I'm going to take my music and I'm going to sing it upside down on a trapeze as I fly around. Do you know how many people had to tell her, that doesn't go together.
You can't do that.
Right? That's like ketchup on broccoli. No, that doesn't work. Right? And that she knew that this she was taking her uniqueness and her skills, and also the way that, we've said before that we're mystical misfits, and that a lot of the people that are around us kind of relate to that, and it's funny, and it feels good to be, and you can feel that in her cast, that there's so many people who have been through so much to be there, and how she welcomes everyone into her show as far as the audience goes and everything. And I thought, what was the face like on so many people when she was sharing her idea that had never been done,
Right.
that really doesn't go together,
A lot of
that
no's.
seems so crazy, and the setup
To do that.
to set up, even like, and to practice, to have somebody else practice what she does.
Flew around the whole stadium like Peter Pan.
That's what he has to do.
How do you do that?
And the way the costume changes happened, and the dancing and the video, and I just was like, you know what? There is never anything that, if you feel in your core that this unique combination of stuff, that's authentically my blended gift, then you do it, and don't let anyone tell you, no, that's not my gift, right? You don't listen to them. Just like the woman Jamie from It Cosmetics, and she wanted to have bye-bye under eye and take her makeup off on QVC.
Yeah.
Her book is called Believe. She sold her company to L'Oreal for $1 billion. And she talks about, I knew it was crazy, but I wanted to make this product for this type of person and sell it in this way. And time again, she was told, nobody's going to buy makeup from you, and nobody wants to see you without makeup. And she said, I just feel this is my unique way of doing it.
Authentic way.
And that's what you can feel from Pink. It is crazy, all the stuff she has in her ragu, like her pot of uniqueness. It's like, how does that all go together?
I love, Lee said, I read that she was a gymnast as a young girl, so it's awesome she used. So we all have different things we love and talents that we don't yet see how they could be blended, but they're part of your unique, authentic self. And so not only blending with the divine, but blending the colors. Have you ever seen those stained glass windows that are all these different colors? There's a tip. Let your stained glass window be multifaceted. Alrighty. You look so pretty. I should take you out. Why don't you give us a tour of the dress? I'll get out of your way.
I'm okay showing off.
It's very pretty. Wow. Is that a stop staring dress?
No,
No?
it's an old cachet.
Old cachet. Okay.
I love this store called Cachet, Cache. It used to be my go-to store for like 4 years. I must have been the only one that shopped there. It went out of business.
All right, sweet friends. You are the authentic ones. Keep allowing that divine light to shine through your beautiful stained glass lives. Allow yourselves to be multifaceted and do your part to keep cleaning the glass and enjoy
Responding.
when sometimes a little bit of dirt helps you to grow, because the light only shines through brighter after you've gone through that.
Yeah. And when you feel like, I don't feel great right now, get out your Windex. Get out your Windex, get in the light.
Beautiful. Much love. Bye now.